Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us today on this session to discuss our MBA programs with Ducere and the University of East London. I am joined today by a couple of different panelists. We can just move on to the next slide. So I'm going to be joined by David McCrory from the University of East London itself to talk about the partnership that we have. I'm also joined by my colleague Tara Stokes from the Learning Support Team. You'll also be hearing today from a member of the academic faculty, Juan Carlos Rabena. And we're also pleased to say that we've got two of our current UEL MBA students joining us, Nate Peoples and Dakota Blaze Raider. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining us today. We're going to run through sort of different elements of the programs, the partnership, and of course, what it's like to experience this course as a student on the program. Let's get going through today's agenda, where we're obviously going to introduce Ducere Global Business School as a platform. David will run through the details of the partnership that we have. Of course, we're looking at the executive MBA program that we offer with the University of East London today. Tara will take you through some deeper information about the onboarding process and what it's like to learn across our online platform. And then, of course, really importantly, hearing through the students themselves. We are going to have some time today at the end of this session to have some questions. You will see that at the bottom of your screen, there is a little Q&A box that you can click on. Please post your questions in there if you've got any as we're going through this session this afternoon, and we'll be happy to answer those as we get to the Q&A session at the end. So to get started, Ducere Global Business School, many of you that have joined us on today's session will have already spoken to an enrolment advisor. So you'll have a little understanding of what it is that we offer, probably just in regard to the University of East London itself. But we are a global school, and we're recognised as a leader in university and enterprise collaborations. So we actually partner with a number of universities around the world. But here in the UK, through our executive MBA program, our official partner is the University of East London. And to take you through that partnership and to provide some more information, we're joined by David. David, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Chris. It's brilliant to be here, and really glad that I could join. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar. As Chris explained, I'm going to talk about the University of East London, give you a little bit of background to our partnership with Ducere. Just a little bit about UEL. For those of you that maybe don't know London or know us, we are located in the London Borough of Newham, and 10 years ago, Newham was the venue for the London 2012 Olympics. Our location in Newham is important to us because the university is very much engaged with and very much a part of the community of East London. It's very ethnically diverse. There's a lot of issues with economic deprivation, and we play an important role in supporting our students to gain access to the opportunities from higher education and to develop fulfilling and rewarding careers. So we see ourselves very much as a careers-focused university, and we say that we've been pioneering futures since 1898, which is when we were first founded, way back from the second industrial revolution to where we are now, the fourth. In 2018, the university launched its new 10-year strategy called Vision 2028, which basically involved us working in partnership with a number of key stakeholders, including employers, to help reshape education for the benefit of all, so that students from all backgrounds can access the benefits of higher education to develop the skills and opportunities in the changing world. So helping our students to be successful in the jobs of the future is really what I'm talking about, I guess. So I believe that UEL and Ducere have a shared vision in relation to developing and delivering work-relevant courses that are going to help our students to be really successful in their careers. But as I said earlier, we're a campus-based university and we focus on face-to-face and blended delivery. We did go on to online briefly during the pandemic, but we and our students were all very happy to get back to campus. And we decided early on that if we were going to get involved in online delivery, that we wanted to do this with a small number of specialist partners who shared our values. And that's essentially how the partnership with Ducere arose. We both share the belief in the importance of vocationally relevant education in partnership with industry to support the career aspirations of our students. So we really like what Ducere do, and we're confident that if you decide to enroll on the UEL Ducere MBA course, you'll have a really positive and engaging learning experience. I'll be around afterwards, so if there are any questions at the end, but in the meantime, I pass back to Chris, who will take you through some of the specifics of the course.
Thank you, David. Yeah, it's just really important to understand those sort of shared values that we have between our school and your university. And it's important for our students or potential students who have joined us today on this webinar to understand that they do join both of our networks as becoming students as part of this program. So it's really important to hear from your side of things on that as well. So thank you very much for taking us through that today, David.
Thanks.
So the unique sort of selling points of our programs and what makes Ducere a little bit different, as David's touched on there, our programs are 100% online. They're incredibly flexible through what are still technically full-time structured programs that you will study. There are no exams across our programs. These are purely coursework based programs that you will study with us. And they're built around the principles of applied learning. That means that for each student, you're getting a tailor-made course through the assignments that are set for each module, so that you can write from your perspective of the industry that you're in for maximum impact. You don't need to translate what we are teaching you across this program from case studies through different sectors. We're going to ask you from day one to be focused entirely on your industry. So let's delve into the Executive MBA program a little bit more. It's a 12-month course. We've got intakes in January, May, and September. And across the 12 months, you'll study 5 modules plus a applied industry project. So you'll cover things like leadership, strategy, finance, marketing, and digital transformation. These are the key sort of pillars of modern business. And obviously, when you're approaching that from the industry that you are working in, you've got a fantastic curriculum to build up your skill set and take you further through progression, not just the role that you're currently in, but future roles that you'll have as well. The entry requirements, if you've spoken to an enrollment advisor already, something that you may realize is different about Ducere is the entry routes into the program. If you have a bachelor degree, then you'll need 3 years of management experience on top of that to join us. But if you've never been to university before, many MBA programs are closed off to you. We're rather different. If you've got 5 years of management experience, then you can join us on this Executive MBA course. The full published fees on this program are £19,000. But if you speak to your enrollment advisor through your region, then you can find out which scholarship programs you may well be able to access as well. At the end of this presentation, as we're doing the Q&A sessions, there'll be some QR codes where you'll be able to book in a meeting with one of your regional enrollment advisors. Some of the organizations that we've worked with or that our students have moved on into are displayed on the screen right now. One of the most amazing parts of the Executive MBA is the industry applied products that we have in the final term. With that, you'll work with your fellow students on a project that is a real world problem for an organization. We've worked in the past with companies like KPMG, with Disney, the United Nations. One of our most recent cohorts was working on a project for Aston Martin. And this is a fantastic opportunity for students to step back away from their industry for a second and really cement in place what they've learned across the previous 5 modules on the executive MBA. You'll have great digital collaboration with your student peers, but you'll know that every element of what you've learnt and put into practice across this MBA program is having an effect in the real world. And to discuss a little bit more from a teaching perspective, very pleased to be joined by Juan Carlos Rebena. Thanks for joining us today. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me, Chris, and it's a pleasure to speak to all of you today. You know, it's kind of hard to follow up on everything Chris has said because he does such a great job of really giving you the lay of the land. But kind of to build on that, right, from an academics perspective, really the applied nature of what you're going to be looking at. I will say that one of my favorite parts of teaching at Ducere is that we have projects and assignments that are based so well into the kind of intricacies of what you would be doing if you're doing the exact same project for a paycheck or for equity if you happen to be the entrepreneur, that a lot of our students, like Chris mentioned, do actually take the opportunity to work through their assignments on the industries they're currently in, and sometimes even on the companies that they happen to be working through. And I personally find those to be among my favorites to read, because not only do you get the opportunity to really offer some feedback and say, hey, maybe you want to think about this, maybe you want to move in this direction, be able to apply our experience into the experience of the academics into the work and the thought process of the students, but it also brings out the passion, right? It's one thing to be highly skilled and to pick up all the mastery of the courses and to be able to apply that across industries as asked for, dependent on what role you find yourself in, either during your academic journey or once you have concluded it. But it's yet another to be able to build out on what you have, what you're working on, this idea you've always wanted to bring to the market, a problem you hope to solve. The nature of this program will allow you the chance to work on that if that's you. And even if it isn't, you're going to get the chance to be able to work on the kind of reports and the kind of thinking and the kind of concepts that you would be working on if you were doing this exact same role, but in the professional space. So, you know, as Chris mentioned earlier, we don't waste a lot of time with exams and have you try to think through your concepts in a manner that you're not really going to see once you graduate and try to apply these skills in real life. You're going to do the kind of work that you would be doing. You're going to do presentations as if you were pitching to an investor, because that's an important skill. You're going to be writing reports as if you're trying to win over your board of directors, because that's an important skill. And that's the kind of work that you'll be doing as part of this program. It's my pleasure to be one of the academics that are here on staff. You'll find that we all have not just the experience from an academic perspective, but we also bring our practical experience to the table across a myriad of industries. And that really allows us to be able to answer students' questions, not just from a perspective of, well, this is the research and these are the cases, though that comes too, but also from the perspective of, let me give you a little insight on how this went for me when I was in the exact same position you were, or when I was on the opposite side of the table and was making a decision on whether a project should go through or whether a startup should receive funding. And that's kind of valuable experience that you don't get everywhere. So thank you very much for your time. I don't want to turn this into an entire lecture. I'll just leave you with the thought that I'm very excited to have you on board. And I hope that I will see you in my courses come the next couple of months.
Thanks very much, Juan Carlos. I'm sure we'll have some questions aimed towards your department at the end of this session as well. So please do stick around for that. Next, I'd like to introduce my colleague Tara Stokes from the Learning Experience team, who will take you through some of the steps that you'll go through as joining us on the platform.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Stokes. So I'm the Learning Experience Manager. I assist now over about 400 students with non-academic questions. Believe me, there are many. But basically what you do to apply, it's nice and easy. So you begin with speaking to one of our fantastic enrollment advisors. They will help you all the way through the process and help you through all of the fees and how to apply. Once you've had your acceptance letter, then you will be passed over to myself, and I will make sure that you have all of your onboarding. We have welcome webinars, so I show you how to use the platform properly. I give you all of my hints and tips on how to utilize it and plan your time well as well. And then throughout your experience, I do weekly drop-in sessions with our students, so they can come and join at any time, so they can ask as many questions as they want. If there's any feedback along the way, we take that as well, so that we can continue to make your learning experience the best it can be. And then, of course, we will be there at graduation. For many of you that would like to come down to join us in London, then we'll celebrate with you, or you can do it online. But there's a lot of support for our students all the way through the year of study from your academics and myself. So I'm really excited to have you on board. I'm keeping it short and sweet today, Chris.
Thanks very much, Tara. Whilst we've got this slide open, just a couple of things to touch on, just around application. So for our January intake, the deadline to apply is the 16th of December. Now, anybody that is a self-funding student that successfully applies and makes their first payment for the course by that date is going to be entered into a prize draw for our graduation, and you can win a luxury 2-night stay for your graduation. So that's a really exciting opportunity for our prospective students joining us on the January intake as well. So just to remind you of that date, to start in January, on the 9th of January, you'll need to apply by the 16th of December. Thanks very much, Tara, for that. We're going to move over now to get an insight from two of our current MBA students. So we've got Nate and Dakota joining us. Now, this is split between joining from the executive MBA program, but also from our previous luxury brand management MBA course, which from 2023 is being absorbed into the executive MBA course. Now, the reason that we're doing that is that a number of the course key modules remain the same throughout this program, and the industry partner that we're looking to have for the group project will be a luxury brand. So just to take you through what it's like to be a student across our platform, I'd like to introduce both Nate and Dakota. I think just a little introduction from both of you two. I'll start with Nate. If you could sort of explain a little bit about yourself, your experience on the Ducere and UEL platform, and how you're finding the course so far. Take it away, Nate.
Sure, of course. So, hi everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Yep. So Nate Peoples here. I am a seasoned IT professional with over 10 years of experience. I'm currently a sales executive on the or in the software industry, and I'm also a commercial realtor in the state of Texas. So I wear many hats here. But going into Ducere, it has been quite a fantastic experience, from the initial search to working with the academic enrollment advisors, from Tara to Steve Gutierrez, to the entry of the course itself. And I just finished taking Juan Carlos's class or course, and that was probably the most exciting class that I have taken in a long time. So kudos to you there. But my overall experience here at Ducere and with the University of East London has been 5 out of 5 stars. The academic resources that are available to you are top tier. The professors are there with you every step of the way, answer any questions that you may have from day one all the way to the very end of the course. Great communication channels and an overall delightful experience moving into this MBA program. So everyone on the call and for future students listening, this is definitely worth your time and investment. And I look forward to your future success.
Thanks very much for that, Nate. I'm sure that our prospective students on this webinar session are going to have some questions for both you and Dakota. Dakota, would you mind sort of just providing a little bit of insight of your background and how you came to Ducere and your experience on the platform as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chris. How's the audio? Am I good? Just want to verify.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, first of all, before I introduce myself, I just want to echo everything you said. Chris, David, Juan Carlos, Tara, Nate, everybody on the call. Everything that you've said so far, I echo. Everything that they're saying to any prospective students it's not bold. They're not blowing smoke. This is all quite an accurate assessment of the nature of the culture of the school and the process of how everything goes. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Dakota Rader. I was born and raised in Nebraska, the United States, very small town. After graduating high school, I had the chance to join a nonprofit organization where I was able to travel the world as a traveling teacher. So I taught English and music in 17 countries over 4 years. So I just spent 4 years traveling and teaching, which is a very great kind of start to my career there. After that, had the opportunity to subsequently get into some public speaking. So spent some time just working as a public speaker, did some TEDx speaking, things like that. From there, I really started to lean into my passions and pursue kind of an entrepreneurial journey. So I studied to be a sommelier. For those on the call that are fans of wine or spirits, I spent 2 years devoting my time to becoming a master of wine. So lots of fun stuff there. So I was working for a large hospitality company in America called Landry's Corporation. So I was a sommelier for Landry's, opened many bars, many restaurants. And yeah, that was a passion of mine. So through that journey, actually working in those restaurants as a sommelier, I got introduced to some pretty special folks. One of the executives at that company, when that company sold, came and chatted with me, said, "Hey, we're going to open up another couple restaurants and we'd like you to do all the wine, spirits, and beverage programs." So I was kind of pulled out of the Landry's restaurant hospitality group at the time of exit. It sold 2 years ago. And 2 of the owners from that company kind of poached me out. And I was able to get involved from the ground up, building some new restaurants out here in Orange County, California. From there, that was the last project that I worked on. One of those executives reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a top shelf vodka brand. If you were to do that, what would you do and how would you do it?" I was like, "Oh, I got so many ideas, but I'm more of a wine guy. No, thank you." And he said, "No, just take a crack at it. Come up with a brand, a product concept, so on and so forth." So I gave him my ideas and he's like, "Yeah, hey, let's do this. Let's do this. I want to partner with you." This guy's a seasoned businessman, been in manufacturing and hospitality his whole life. So it's a really great partnership and community to be in. At that time, when I said yes to partnering with this gentleman to start this vodka brand, I had gotten, I think I came across something on LinkedIn about the Ducere program. And I'm very, I don't want to say skeptical about school, but school wasn't something that particularly fits my learning style. Sitting in a classroom and regurgitating lessons from a textbook to take tests and do all of those things aren't particularly the way I learn best. So the applied nature of the Ducere and East London concept really called out to me. So trying to link Ducere, this MBA program, and this opportunity I had to get into business at the startup with this new vodka company. I was kind of looking at this picture holistically, right? I'm about to step into this entrepreneurial endeavor, which is going to be a big undertaking. And am I ready for that? I'm not certain. This whole MBA with Ducere thing, okay, it's applied. What does that really mean? I think I had a call with Tara or somebody to kind of, it was Caroline, a gal works for Ducere, awesome lady. She was kind of telling me about the applied nature of the programming, and yeah, whatever you're working on, you just apply all of the stuff you learned from the course to your business. And I was like, man, that actually kind of sounds enticing. So you're telling me that I'm building this brand, this project, and everything that I do in this, I get to kind of do parallel to each other. And that's precisely what I did. So I applied and got into the Ducere program, thankfully. And over the entire course of this project, I've been able to take everything from the Ducere programming and apply it directly to the business that we've been building for the last 2 years. And I will say there's nothing that I have experienced or learned or been exposed to in the Ducere and East London program that has been not relevant or irrelevant to what I'm doing. Every single thing has been directly correlated or been able to be applied to our business, which is really, really special. So I've always been I've never been a good student, actually. You know, in high school and after high school, I wasn't a good student because I had no desire to, you know, sit in a class and just hear somebody talk about stuff that doesn't matter. Alternatively, now, Ducere and East London have done such an incredible job of compiling relevant 21st century content that I can not have to sift through like, oh, where's the value in all of this? No, it's all value. So you can directly take all that information and apply it parallel to whatever you're doing. And that's really been the best thing for me, for my business, for my family. I'll be able to walk away from this course and really feel like I got something out of it. You know, I'm a young dad. I got a wife and a baby, and life is expensive and stuff, but this is 100% worth the investment. If money's something you're stressed about, you're going to walk away from it knowing that it was the right choice. So I know I kind of didn't really have a line item path to what I just said, but I just kind of spun the ball there and got passionate. But yeah, those are my thoughts, and open to questions and all that. But thank you so much for having me on here, and definitely for those students that are on here, if you haven't made the choice yet, consider this a sign. I think this is a right move if the applied programming is something that you're looking for.
Thank you so much, Ducere. And I know you said you've sort of gone off script there, essentially, is it? But
I didn't know them. I literally just, hey, let's just spin the ball, man. Passion's passion.
But it's fantastic because, you know, you're not alone in sort of feeling that passion towards the program. You know, we hear that a lot from our students, and we're so thankful to get that, you know, that message back. It's incredibly important for our students to see the value of this program, and not have to wait until post-graduation to see kind of any return on that investment financially or in their time, to see it happen taking place whilst you're still a student on the program itself. And as you rightly pointed out, I'm sure that there's going to be some questions that we'll get to in a minute. But I've kind of got some questions that I know comes up time and time again. And I'll pass this one over to Nate. A lot of people sort of worry about joining an online program and then having just purely self-motivated study kind of ahead of them. But how do you feel about your experience with your student network and your fellow students as part of the cohort that you joined? How does the Ducere platform allow you to communicate with your fellow students?
Perfect. Great question, Chris. So the Ducere platform allows us to effectively communicate with our fellow students through their discussion form. So you can, so at the end or at the start of each course, there is a discussion option where you can introduce yourself and get to know your fellow students. And, it's a quick introduction as to who you are, what you do, where you're even located if you feel to disclose that information, so you can get to know your classmates and even local classmates as well, so you can form study groups and anything of the like for that. So that's what I have seen and what I have done as well. And many students also follow that path coming into each new course.
Yeah, and we do make sure that what we try and provide is essentially like a digital campus, if you will. So we facilitate all of that network and communication through the student network, but also with the academics and with Tara and the learning support team as well, so that you've got all of the available communication channels that you would naturally have as part of a campus based course, but we're providing it through, as I said, these sort of digital channels instead. Some of the kind of partnerships that have been formed through students have carried on post graduation as well, and as part of the student alumni network, the Ducere alumni network, you've got access to people who are in completely different situations to you, from different positions in the world, different types of sectors that they work in. And it's a great opportunity to sort of not just expand on the network that you have, but there's potential business growth that can be made. And, even from our previous cohort that we'd seen from last year, actual business partnerships taking place and forming through students who met on our MBA programs as well. Thanks very much, guys, for that. What I'm going to do now is open up the floor to questions on here. As I said earlier, we do have some QR codes. So if you want to get in touch with one of your enrollment advisors from your region, then you can scan the code and it'll allow you to book in time into our diaries, so we can have a more in-depth conversation about your options of studying with Ducere in the University of East London. So we'll leave that up on the screen whilst we go through some questions. Let me just load all of these up now. Now, I can see that, Nate, you have answered one of the questions via text on here, just about sort of managing time. But for anybody that can't see that, I wonder if you could just elaborate on that a little bit more, like how, when we offer a full-time program, how can people manage their full-time jobs and then adding study on top of that as well?
Right, so that's the trick question with a very simple answer, but I'm going to break it down even further. So when I responded to the student, I said it's excellent time management. But what does that entail? So my 9 to 5, I'm an account executive in software sales, and then as soon as I'm done with my day, I completely devote my evenings and weekends to my course studies. So I have I have a set schedule laid out for me for my day-to-day, and then my MBA studies as well. That can bleed into the weekends, but that's just for my MBA program and my MBA program alone. So by being able to separate the two, I was able to effectively split my time between my MBA school and my AE 9 to 5 job without suffering in quality for either one. Does that answer your question, Paul?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And we've got a similar sort of question here from Daniel, just about the number of hours that you'll invest into it. Dakota, how have you found it sort of as an average, maybe across a module that you'll dedicate towards the program?
Yeah, thank you. I'll piggyback off of Nate, and then also add on to that specific question about the amount of hours. Nate, it sounds like you have a way better system than I do. You got your schedule laid out. I'm in a bit more of a dynamic situation with a newborn baby and a new business and a wife and these kind of like things that are ever changing. And we found out, it's funny, we found out we were going to have our baby daughter, Scarlett, like 6 or 7 days after we found out that I was going to be doing this course. So it was kind of a crazy timing situation. It was like, yeah, we're just going to do this thing. With, you know, full-time entrepreneurial business and a full-time dad and a wife, I've still found the time to get everything out of this course that I needed. You know, you're just going to make it work. Whatever your schedule is and whatever your circumstance, you're going to do it. And I think the way the course is designed really allows you to do that. And I think there was a question in there, something about, you know, when are the webinars and that type of a thing. Obviously, your teachers are going to be located in different parts of the world, probably from where you are. I know my teachers, the teachers I've been experiencing so far have been located in Australia. So sometimes classes at 3 a.m. my time. Now, what you can do is all of those classes are recorded and posted to the Canvas dashboard, the student learning portal. And I get up in the same time that I was going to, you know, use for my studies. I can watch those webinars, any questions I have. The communication channels with your teachers are very clean and clear. Email them, reach out to them on the Canvas, and they're very quick to respond and get back to you. So that's that. As far as when the webinars are, that's very flexible, and it's really up to you when you need to digest that information, when you need to get time to watch the webinars and then proceed with your studies. Personally, you know, I don't have a ton of free time, but I do dedicate like 4 hours a week. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but specifically 4 hours a week to the webinars, and then actually executing papers and applied learning. Now, there's more than 4 hours a week. I would say that's like my fixed learning. There's so much amazing content that is provided by the teachers and the Canvas and program generally. That's all extra, right? You're going to get hundreds of incredible resources, books, academic books, things like this. You could spend thousands of hours with the information that they give you, but to effectively get out of the course what you would want to, I put about 4 hours a week to it, which is not a lot. Like it's not a lot, but you know, that's variable depending on the student and that type of a thing and what you're looking to get out of it. So I know that's kind of a generalization. 4 hours, like really, that's kind of not a good answer, but that's kind of how I found my time being spent.
Yeah, no, perfect.
Chris, I wanted to add something there. Because Dakota mentioned the webinars, and I didn't touch on that when I was speaking. You know, the benefit of the webinars is that they are recorded even if you can't attend live. And you know, I know some students initially when they start their classes, they get a little concerned about whether or not they can attend all the webinars live, because as you have heard mentioned and may have also picked up, we have students literally from across the globe. I've had classes that I think have represented at least 8 time zones at the same time, right? So it does become a little tricky to get everybody in the same space at the same time. But the nature of the course is that it is designed in a way that you can interact with it as your schedule allows, right? So one of the great things here that you may not always experience in your past educational life is that there are many different paths to be able to gain a mastery of the subject. You can do the live version of the webinar, you can watch the recordings later, you can have the interactions with your classmates in the WhatsApp chat, et cetera. So just something to keep in mind when you're doing these time calculations, that there are many different paths you can take, all to the same eventual goal. It's not the kind of system where if you're not in live in the webinar at this time, you're kind of done. That's not really how we do things here.
And just to add to it, sorry, another question that comes up with webinars is that you're not marked on attendance. So, you know, obviously you've got myself there in the background. So if you are slightly falling behind or if you haven't logged in for a few days, I just give you a little bit of a nudge, but you're not effectively marked on it. So you can watch all of them in recording if you want to.
And if there are students that, let's say they have extensive questions from a webinar that they've watched. How available are the academic team to meet with students?
Yeah, very. So we have Q&A sessions as well as webinars, so they can join those. Or if they know beforehand that they can't actually attend live, they can send their list of questions beforehand, and then the academic will then answer those in the webinar. So when they watch them back, then they've already been answered.
And also very, very good about responding to emails. Get those messages responded to as quickly as possible. I always stress with students before an assignment is due, if you have a question, as soon as you have it, send it in, because you'll get your response pretty quickly and then be able to apply it to whatever work you're working on.
Yeah, I feel my experience has been that the interaction between the academics and the students sort of feels like living in a small town. You don't feel distant from anyone. Everybody's very close to access. Yes, everything has structure. There needs to be a Canvas and there needs to be webinars for it to be a school, but it doesn't feel like that, right? It feels like I'm able to reach out to Juan Carlos over an email, say, hey, can we do a one-to-one? I feel lost. I'm uncertain about this. I actually, for the last program, our marketing course that we just finished, I was unable to attend any of the webinars for the entire course. I couldn't be at any of them because of work and baby and travel and other things. I couldn't make it. So I did feel disconnected. But my teacher, Rob, actually, awesome guy. That guy's awesome. Rob, he hopped on, I think, 3 one-to-ones. Like, hey, can you hop on? Yeah, let's hop on a call. And the input from Rob after getting on those one-on-ones, he's like, this is why I do this. Like, I love this interaction. And to hear that from an academic in such a genuine way, to say the reason I do it is to engage one-on-one with the students. Heck, I might miss the rest of the webinars intentionally, because the amount of learning that can be done through that direct impact from the academic to the student is really special. So those channels are available. So don't think that, oh, I can't make it, or class is at 3 a.m. Heck no, I'm not doing this. That's fine. Either watch it or your teacher's available to access, which is really a special thing.
Yeah, that's brilliant to hear, because I know that when I speak to prospective students about the program, that is a big concern of theirs. Is, do I have to be stuck to this very rigid timetable? What if I can't make it? Am I going to be penalized? Because they've got all of these hang-ups that they understand exist through campus-based courses, essentially. And what we offer is a very sort of flexible approach to learning through what is still, that 12-month program. That, look, if you start in January, you will be finished in December. And through that, you'll be obtaining a full level 7 MBA qualification. And just to kind of touch on that, because we've got a question coming in about, has anybody had any issues through the way that the course is structured? Essentially, I can see Tara shaking her head on there for this, but this is, although being online, as I touched on just there, it's a full level 7 master's degree. Your degree certificate, you'll graduate on campus at the University of East London with your degree certificate coming directly from them. So Paul, to answer your question on there, no, we've never seen sort of any issues with our students post graduation on this. I don't know if Tara, you want to provide some further insight on it.
Yeah, so students will leave with a certificate, but alongside that you'll have transcripts, and the transcripts will show each module and how you've done in them. And it'll give you a percentage. So it doesn't matter whether it was an exam or whether it was coursework, if I'm totally honest. It's not something that would ever show up on a transcript. So no one would really ask that question. And it's fully accredited, and you've already got all of the credits that you need to go through anyway. So no, that's nothing for you to worry about.
Perfect, thank you. We've got a question from Michael about how many MBA students are enrolled at any given time across our MBA programs. Tara, how busy are you?
Very busy. So at the moment, we have 67 students on the EMBA studying, but they are split into different cohorts. So you've got maybe a cohort of 12 and a cohort of 17, that type of thing. And your cohort are the kind of the group of students that you study all the way through and you'll graduate with. But yeah, so at the moment, I think we've got around about 50 students joining us in January. So you're a nice big group to get along with. So I'm sure they've got plenty of experience to help you along.
Yeah, and when our students enroll, they'll be part of a WhatsApp group as well, won't they? So communication and networking can start with that cohort immediately. And as our guests joined us, I don't know if it was Nate or Dakota, sort of touching on the study sessions that we can organize as well. All of that is a key part of sort of a supplementary learning experience. You know, it's not just what's included within the modules, but it's what you're going to learn from each other as well, and really help fill those gaps in your knowledge. It's amazing what our students can learn from each other from the cohort.
Yeah, it's as flexible as you want it to be. You can get involved in everything, or you can get involved in nothing. It's totally up to you, and it's totally up to the way that you learn. So you just take and leave whatever's best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes from the moment that they enroll all the way through to graduation, but post-graduation as well. I just want to sort of reiterate that when you join a Ducere program, you become part of our alumni network, but you're also part of the university partnerships alumni network as well. And we want to help facilitate students, you know, through into that and all of the opportunities that arise through having an extended network. Most people, when they're graduating, they just get one, but as part of our programs, you're getting 2 networks to join, and we really want our students to be active alumni as well as part of that. So I think we've answered most of the questions. We've just had one more, which is what percentage must you have to pass each module or assignment? Either Tara or Juan Carlos, just to provide a little bit of detail about where the pass marks are and maybe how a master's qualification differs from kind of the grade rankings that people might expect from an undergraduate program.
Yeah, so each module has to be passed, and 50% is a pass mark. So you need to pass that whole module at 50% to be able to pass it.
And I know that might be a little bit tricky for our US audience that is used to 60 being a percentage for mark. Don't get too caught up in the numbers. It's still the same general marking system. So you do need to pass the course in order to move on. It might be a slight, and I saw Dakota laughing there. It might be a slight adjustment on the grading scale if you're used to A, B, C, D, F, but it's still the same general idea. And yes, it's 50%.
Excellent. All right. Well, look, I think that's possibly it for all of the questions today. Once again, whilst I'm sort of just touching on these QR codes and how to get in touch, if there are any further questions, please post them into here as a last opportunity. The QR codes here are broken down by each region. If you're aware of who your enrollment advisor is, you can scan that in, book a session to discuss the course or the next steps for enrolling in more detail through that. If you're not sure who would be the best person to reach out to, pick a random one. Go for it, and we'll happily talk to you. But we're all here to help. We're here to assist students through their journey into enrolling into the program. So if you haven't been able to ask a question today, or it comes to you later, or maybe you're watching this as a recording and you want to get in touch, feel free to scan the QR code and speak to one of your advisors. So we've just got one last question, I think, that's come through about webinars that can be viewed to understand them prior to signing up. So we do have sort of additional sort of content available. But what I would say the best thing to do is if you want to sort of understand that a little bit more, we could potentially arrange a conversation to be had with Tara to understand what learning materials you're after and see if there's anything available for potential students through this.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think that's probably it for the questions now. I'm going to wrap it up here. If anything else does come up, then do reach out to an enrolment advisor. I'll just take the opportunity to thank everybody who's been a panelist on this afternoon's session. Thanks very much, everybody. It's been a real pleasure speaking with all of you today and shedding light from your experience or from your department to really help our prospective students understand the programs that we offer here. I shall just finally leave you on a reminder of the dates for applying for the next intake. If you want to start on the 9th of January, you'll need to apply by the 16th of December. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. It's been a pleasure this afternoon. Thank you, and hopefully see you all in January.